How do you guys feel about poetry? Because for me, poetry, when I think about it, I think of GCSE English literature when I didn't really like it. Had to sit there reading bloody, like, was it Love and War, was it? Or Peace and War or something? That anthology book that has loads of poems in it that I just didn't vibe with. Then I went through a bit of a stage in my life, and the person I was seeing at the time really liked poetry, and I absolutely loved their work, and they encouraged me to start writing poetry in order to deal with my emotions. And I loved it, and I found it so therapeutic, and I wish I carried on with it, to be honest, and maybe it is something I'll carry on with. But I have since then not picked up like any form of poetry. I'm pretty sure I've got Rupi Kaur's books downstairs somewhere, and then I picked up another one that's like friendships and love or something, poems about friendships and love, and I'm yet to read that. So I'm gonna try and start to get back into the poetry vibe, because I also think there's a bit of a stigma about the people that read poetry are quite, you know, like snobby, up themselves, wow, I read poetry, whatever. And I think that there is a misconception that poetry can be quite boring as well, and actually it doesn't have to be. And when you think about it, poetry is often in songs and in music that we listen to every day. So I'm definitely going to have like a bit of a resurgence of poetry. So I'm going to go grab the books, come back and show you what I've got. It would obviously help if I planned this video a bit more beforehand and found my poetry books, but I, alas, couldn't. But I found two. So I definitely had that love and friendship one that's a fatter one. But I've also got The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. This gives me major Rupi Kaur vibes, you know what I mean? Like, it's black, it's got that sort of typewriter font, and then inside you've got the poems. What I do like about poetry as well is that it is short, and someone that has a short attention span like me and that likes shorter books, poetry does that for you. You can get through poetry a lot quicker. And speaking of shorter books, I've also got this on Blueprint. When I say short, I mean short. So yeah, this is by like an indie press by the looks of it. It's a Green Bottle Press. So I just realised some of these are the other way. So for example, they're horizontal. So I'm going to read out a couple. Let's go to contents. Okay, choose, seizure, page 8. Oh, that's weird. So 8 is my family lucky number. I was born on the 8th, so was my brother, so was my sister. And I just chose the word that stood out to me the most, and it was seizure, and it's on page 8, which I think is a bit creepy. Let's read this one. Seizure. Have you ever seen a man swallowing his eyes, the hat fallen next to him, clenching his jaw, biting his tongue pulsing blue, a royal butterfly resting on a rose, for 1, 2, 3, 8 bloody seconds of mute, passing of knowledge until the body slowly shuts down its gate, and the man resurfaces on the everyday waters, never the same to me, irreversible, like homebrewed beer. Very impactful is what I would say about poems as well, because, okay, my card was full, so I've just cleared it and come back. So I'm hoping we'll be okay now, although I feel like my battery's probably going to die before long. So I was saying about poetry and how you have to make more of an impact in a shorter number of words, which I think is an art and is really powerful. Let's choose another one from this one. If you watch my reading roundups, you'll know that I really struggle to read a lot of books in a month, so maybe reading poetry is the way to go at the moment, because then that will vamp up how many books I've read this year. I'm going to go back to the contents. Oh, there's one that's just a colon, 13. Oh, unlucky number 13. Okay. I ran up the stairs bleeding, my body intact but bleeding. I ran up to find Mum, but Mum wasn't home. I wanted to ask her if she knew someone in town who knew stuff about this kind of stuff. She wasn't home. Tell her a big love has flooded me between my thighs. The news that someone from Earth has just landed on Earth. Okay, there's a lot of poems in here about different sorts of things. The author is graduated from the MA in Writing Poetry, the Poetry School in Newcastle University. Let's try this one. So The Princess Saves Herself in this one by Amanda Lovelace. Let's go to the contents and see what we like. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, trigger warnings. This book contains sensitive material relating to... Are you ready for this? Yes, there is a whole page on this, the length of a poem. Child abuse, intimate partner abuse, bullying, sexual assault, self-harm, eating disorders, queerphobia, menstruation, alcoholism, racism, trauma, death, suicide, grief, cancer, fire, and possibly more. Remember to practice self-care before, during and after reading. Contents. Oh, I like this. So the princess, the damsel, the queen, you. Oh no, let's go to page 1 because this looks interesting. Warning, this is not a fairy tale. There is no princess, there is no damsel, there is no queen, there is no tower, there are no dragons. There is simply a girl faced with the difficult task of learning to believe in herself. Warning 2, happy ending ahead. Here lie the raw, unpolished and mostly disjointed pieces of my soul. Ah, life, the thing that happens to us while we're off somewhere else blowing on dandelions and wishing ourselves into the pages of our favourite fairy tales. Once upon a time, the princess. I was born a little book mad. I could be found stroking the spines of my books while I sat locked alone inside my bedroom. All the while I hoped my books would spill their exquisite words over the lush green carpet so I could collect them one by one and savour them like berries inside my mouth. Forever a collector of words. When I had no friends, I reached inside my beloved books and sculpted some out of 12-point nudes times Roman, and it was almost good enough. The little girl isn't listening to you. She's way too busy staring out the window, fantasising about a world of magical accidents, flying envelopes, screeching owls, adoring giants, brooms that do more than sweep, friends who are always loyal, and a train that will take her to an enchanted place, far, far, far away from here. Put under a lifelong spell. My mother smiled as she offered a cube of sugar in her upturned palm. Greedily, I accepted. I reached inside my mouth, delicately placing one, just one, on the centre of my tongue, and I clamped down. Salt. That is what abuse is. Knowing you are going to get salt, but still hoping for sugar for 19 years. Fuck! That is so good. That is so powerful. Let's read that last bit again. Salt. That is what abuse is. Knowing you are going to get salt, but still hoping for sugar for 19 years. I love this. Okay, so there's some of the poetry books that I'm sharing with you today, but I'm yet to find the more that are scattered around this house and start reading some of them to appreciate poetry a bit more and up my reading count for the year. Let me know what sort of poetry you enjoy reading, if these are something that you want to add to your TBR list, and hopefully see you in my next one.